have two big needs. First of all, of course, is physical health, but also spiritual health. And that's exactly what this organization is doing. It has been doing for so many years, and Georgia herself is the saint for this organization. We're so proud of her for having started this. It's wonderful for what she has accomplished for senior citizens as well as for youth. And I'm happy to be a part of it, and I hope to remain a part of it. And I'm very proud of Don for having stuck with it, because he's had a lot of challenges, but he's managed to keep himself together.
There's no greater work one can do than to promote good health and health care. I don't care how wealthy you are. I don't care how accomplished you are. I don't care how much money you got. If you are sick, you're not in good shape. So this is outstanding work. I commend Don Doty for doing it. And Don has been the main educator in the state of Illinois, pushing the issue of hepatitis and the issue of HIV and AIDS, and has helped to educate thousands and thousands and thousands of people so that they know how to better protect themselves.
Don is a pillar of the community as founding president and CEO of the Georgia Doty HIV and Hepatitis Community Outreach. I especially appreciate all of your good work to raise awareness about hepatitis and HIV within communities of color. I have worked in Congress to support your efforts. I have spent my career in Congress working to serve the communities I represent and to protect the least among us. As long as God continues to give me good health and the people continue to give me their support, I look forward to continuing that work.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Doty Report. I'm your host this evening. My name is Cheryl Garrett Lee, and I welcome you. I hope you all had a great Martin Luther King holiday and that you contributed in some way with some type of service, or somehow you enjoyed and celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King. Well, tonight we have an extremely powerful show for you tonight with great guests who are very versed in the field. We're talking about solutions to urban violence tonight. So those are the things we're going to discuss. We have three dynamic guests who have been involved in trying to solve the issues surrounding violence, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about them. But first, let's tell you a little bit about the Doty Report. Now, the Doty Report is a platform of Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health, which is a 501c3 organization which is dedicated to the fight against those challenged with economic and health disparities. We work with veterans, seniors, homeless, underemployed, unemployed. We help those who are challenged with diabetes, hepatitis C, HIV, high blood pressure, cancer. So Georgia Doty is a grassroots effort, and you may have seen us in your community. If so, we're going to tell you later how you can volunteer, how you can help us out, and how you can donate towards the end of the program. Please feel free tonight to ask questions to our distinguished guest. And we're going to go ahead and talk about who we have on the show tonight. But first, let's give a shout out to our president and founder, Mr. Don Doty, his lovely wife, Joyce Doty, who's always by his side and in these efforts with us, and to our producer, Rochester Bailey, and also to all of our Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health team, who is really out there with the fight, our board of directors, our advisory council, our volunteers, our consultants. It is such a great organization, and it is a wonderful way to help. We're grateful that we have been able to maintain our platforms through the pandemic so that we have been able to pass out food. We've been able to pass out PPE to help fight against the pandemic. And we will talk about how you can help us continue to do that. Well, tonight we have with us Reverend Henry Barlow, who is the pastor of Morning Star Baptist Church. Hello, Reverend Barlow. How are you tonight?
I'm just fine, Cheryl. How are you?
I'm good, good. Thank you for joining us. We also have with us Mr. Laron Marks, who is Vice President of Hope Empowerment, and that stands for Help Our People Excel. I love that. Hello, Mr. Marks. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. And then we have Mr. Rockland Jones, who is with Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health now, and is very passionate about helping in the community. Hi, Mr. Jones. How are you today?
Hello, young lady. How are you? I'm fine today.
I'm good, good.
Okay.
Well, as I said, we've got some powerful guests on here who are very passionate about what has been happening in urban violence. We're going to discuss some things that we feel would be solutions to it. We know that right now, on top of the pandemic, it seems like violence has really, really escalated. And so we want you to invite your friends to jump on with us, because during the broadcast, you can ask questions. So go ahead, take the time now, share this, invite your friends, and we are going to start our conversation with allowing these gentlemen to introduce themselves. Just give us about a minute or so about what you do and how you have been involved with helping solve violence issues. We're going to start with Reverend Barlow tonight. Reverend Barlow, go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Cheryl.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see.
For some strange reason or another.
Okay, let's see what we can do about that. Mr. Marks, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you okay, but I don't see me on the screen.
Okay, all right. Is your camera off?
It's not getting any better.
No, let's see.
Okay. Pastor Barlow, can you turn your volume up? Okay. And so go ahead, Mr. Jones, let's start with you until we kind of work through our technical issues. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your passion about community? You and I have talked before, and I really appreciate the things that you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, good evening, audience. My name is Rockland Jones, and like she said, I'm more interested and more passionate about seeing the youth come together. All we see now is how how things are falling apart, a lack of morals, a lack of values, respect, and a lot of these youth don't know what are headed nowhere. And a lot of that is due to the fact that they don't know which way to go. All they know is what the television has taught them, or what they see on social media, the music they listen to. What kind of guidelines that they have right now. I feel like they need more positive role models, positive examples overall, in order, to give them some hope, that there is another way, and also one main factor is spirituality. It's such a, I don't know, it has been such depleted in the past years, and that's the main foundation that's going to take for these guys to really make some difference, to really get some desire within their heart to change. But they have to be shown. They have to hear something different. You have to see something different in order to desire something different. And I think one of the main issue, let's say the common denominator, is money, that almighty dollar. So that's got to be part of the package. They're not even going to listen if they don't think they can get some money out of it. But we instill, maybe can add it out to a program of some sort that is going to make them some part-time jobs or something like that. Just to get started with a handful, which maybe they can shine through to some of the other individuals who might want a little bit more and realize that there are other ways other than not breaking the law in order
Okay.
to get something that trying to get our life.
Yes, yes, it's real important that we include the youth because so much is going on. There's the snatch and grab, there's
Yes.
the carjacking, there's just the gun violence, and there seems to be no type of appreciation for life and
Amen.
how precious it is. It seems like life can be gone in an instant, and it's just a shame in the world that we're living in right now. It seems like, especially in the urban areas, which we're
Exactly.
talking about now, that it's very prevalent. You're looking over your shoulder. You're parking and looking over your shoulder.
Exactly. You have to keep that one eye behind your head open all the time, and we need to be. That's because we, as a community itself, needs to come together a lot more. A lot of times with the judicial system, these guys don't get nothing but a slap on the wrist anyway, and they're back. I think we need the more the consequences.
Okay.
Do things like
And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to break it down for our audience about politics, about organizations that can help,
okay.
and we're going to talk about how we can do that. Reverend Barlow, are you able to hear us now?
I am. I am.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we want you to. I'm glad. Oh, and there we've got Laron. So we're batting 1,000 right now. So Reverend Barlow, now Mr. Jones has introduced himself and talked about his passion for helping with the violence that is going on now. Can you talk to us about what you do? We know you're a pastor, and also the things that you have been involved with as far as the community and helping curb crime.
Okay, thank you again, Cheryl, for the invite, and certainly to Don Doty as well. I'm the senior pastor of the Morning Star Baptist Church located in Bronzeville, right at the corner of 40th and King Drive. I grew up in that church, and I have the pleasure of pastoring there now for 6 years. My involvement in the city goes back since 1990, starting in healthcare, and then actually partnering with some of my friends in another life. I used to work in automotive, and I developed a school called Chicagoland Youth and Adult Training Center, and we were housed in Kennedy King College, where we took disadvantaged and at-risk young adults and we put them in automotive technology.
Okay.
And we partnered with with Ford Motor Company and Chrysler, and we placed our young men that graduated from our program in automotive dealerships as apprentice technicians. And when the economy took a crash in 2008, we began to have some real struggles with that, and we eventually had to close down in 2012. But my involvement with the youth has still been going on. One of the things that I have seen, being a pastor and having to have buried quite a few young men, my experience is that everybody's focusing in on we have a gun problem. We have a gun problem. And I want to submit to you tonight that it's not a gun problem. We have a heart problem.
Yeah.
The hearts of our people have waxed cold against their very own. I've spoke to numerous families and numerous young people about their course of action as it pertains to black on black crime, especially when it comes down to our young men. I have a heart for that because I have 5 sons. I'm the father of 5 sons, and I have 4 grandsons. So I'm passionate about that. And I realize that each time a young man is shot down and killed, not only is he shot down and killed, but that seed dies as well.
Yeah.
And that's very concerning to me because I believe that we are our brother's keepers. And that was a question that came up when God questioned Cain about his brother Abel. And he said, I hear the voice of your brother's blood crying from the ground. And I've challenged many young people as they walk through the streets of this city and drive through the streets of this city to just be quiet and just listen and see how many people's voices they hear crying from the ground, because
The issue is the family value is lost now.
Mm-hmm.
There is no family value, and it's not the guns; it's the people behind the guns,
True.
and it's where their hearts are now. And unless we can penetrate the heart again, anything you do and say and give to them is only going to last for a few minutes. We've got to be able to reach their hearts to get them to understand the real damage that they're doing to themselves and to our people and to our community.
Yeah.
That's the issue for me. And that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to penetrate the hearts of some of these young men that I've come in contact with. And, I will tell you, I mean, some of them are real challenging. Truth be told, I don't like young people, but I'm compelled by God to love them. I don't have to like them, but I do have to love them. And as a result of that and understanding that they are the leaders of tomorrow, I am the product of about 5 people who, before they left this earth, put me up under their wings, pulled me close to them, and they poured themselves into me. And that has been my commitment, to try to find some, to pull them close to me, and to pour the little bit that I have into them so that they can continue to do the same. And this is what I challenged the young men that came through my automotive program to do. I said, it's a handout to give you a hand up. And all I want you to do, I don't want you to come back and tell me thank you. I want you to do the very same for somebody else. And as a result of that, I mean, we have quite a few young men that were able to turn their lives completely around. I've got a 2-time ex-offender right now who's the general manager of Castle Buick in North Riverside. 2-time ex-offender who was committed to a life of crime. He came through our program, excelled that. We put him in Triton College. He got his associate's degree. We gave him a job as an apprentice technician. He wanted to try his hands at sales. And I mean, did far better than experienced salesmen. And right now, he is the general manager of Castle Buick in North Riverside. I mean, he's gone from dealing drugs and a life of crime to, making 6 figures or better. And is doing quite good for himself. We have another young man that came through our program that is now an executive for GM. He came through the Ford program, understand this, and he's an executive right now for GM, based upon the few little things that we gave them in our program. And we helped Ford Motor Company to start about 37 other schools across this country doing the very same thing. We even had one housed in a prison down in Dade County, Florida, right by the Everglades. It was actually inside of a prison. So if you give them something to pique their interest, eventually it will hold it. But they got to be able to see a future.
And you're getting into some of the things. I took a few notes while you were talking because I want to come back to that, because you're leading into some solutions. And I want to ask you some very specific questions about those things. But let's hear a little bit from Laron Marks, and let's hear you introduce yourself and how you're involved with violence. And we're going to swing back around because both Reverend Barlow and Mr. Jones mentioned some very crucial things that are solutions to what we're talking about. And I want us to create kind of a pathway of how we can get there, because there's been a lot of success in those programs.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm Laron Marks, and I'm with Hope Empowerment Outreach, help our people excel. And I deal with a lot of grassroots organizations. And my take on this, with this violence, is politics for one. And then it's a disconnect with our people from a generation to another generation. See, a lot of people won't get to the root of the problem of why our city is so out of control. You know what I'm saying? From back when, before they tore all the CHA projects down and scattered people all over the place, and the plan that Mayor Daley them had with the feds to think that, you know, them taking down the organizations that they did, they wind up spawning into renegades, you know, and the way that they do things is not organized. It's just anything goes. That's why you got babies getting killed and young girls and old, you know, elder people getting shot because there's no rules to nothing. And it was a disconnect. So the thing is, I've been in these rooms with like some of the grassroots leaders and this, that, and other from different organizations. And when it came to times to come and help, when the city called on us to come and help out and to try to calm this down, they didn't play fair. The police departments didn't play fair. Some of them tried to pull up old cases on some of the guys that was there to help. So a lot of the older guys kind of turned away. They like, man, I want to be on these streets. I done spent enough time in the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of politics behind this. And we all know it. It's economics. At the end of the day, it's economics. You know what I'm saying? And they've been playing. We've been at the table with the mayor and some other people about putting some programs together. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's about economics. You know what I'm saying? And everybody know this. You know, they try to pass the buck and everybody try to point at this, that, and the other. We dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? We dropped the ball. Black men in a certain generation dropped the ball with this generation. That's why they don't want to listen. If you don't speak their language, they ain't trying to hear you. You know, and the biggest, one of the biggest things too, it's a mental illness going on with the drugs that they're using now. See, it's not like what we came up in. It's a total different thing now, and a lot of people don't understand. That's why the crazy and senseless things that they do, we be trying to make sense out of it, but we can't because we didn't. You know, they on a whole different thing. They doing pills and all kind of crazy stuff that, you know, we don't even understand. We don't better understand. You know.
Now, my husband and I, we just had a conversation about that, about the drugs now, because I work in the healthcare industry, and there is a huge rise in behavioral health issues related to, you know, drug use and all that. And I saw that Don Doty himself has something he wants us to talk about because he's asking the questions. Do you all feel, and you don't have to wait for me to call on you. Let's just go out and have just the general discussion.
Let me say this. It's a lot of mental patients out here. Thanks to Rahm Emanuel. See, people ain't gonna speak up. We talk this talk, but you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to get to the root of things in order to solve these problems. You know what I'm saying? With these like you said, with the pills and all the stuff that these kids are doing. It's pushed throughout music, this deaf culture. I come from the industry. I stepped down from rap music because of them promoting drill music, which is it's a music to help influence our kids into killing each other. And this is pushed by major white corporations. I done dealt with the radio stations. We done done peace concerts, and then at the concert, everybody get up there talking about killing somebody. I'm like, how are we talking about peace? And every act you got up here talking about killing somebody. So it's you know what I'm saying? It don't even make common sense. And they'll sit there and talk like they really want to help. They'll have a moment of silence, but then as soon as the moment of silence is over, they'll push that music right back on there. So these kids are in a deaf culture. That's what this is. They embrace death. You know, and that's them just facts. You know what I'm saying?
I think we all right. I think we all probably agree with that. And we've talked about, as Reverend Barlow said, it's a heart condition. I feel the heart and the mind are definitely connected. And so it's a heart condition. It's the drug use. It's the surroundings, like you said, the music industry, the politicians. So people feel frustrated about this because let's talk about, let's take one issue at a time. Don just asked, is drugs an issue? And I'd like to hear from each of you all. Just very briefly, do you feel drugs is an issue and how?
Of course, drugs is an issue. Drugs is a big factor. You know, drugs, to some of these young people, drugs is a way to success.
Now, let me ask you this. Is it only young people?
Not only young people, but the young people have been taught by the people prior to them, you know, the generation prior to them. You know, well, we have stepped in, like the brother mentioned, we got a couple of generations behind us that were totally lost. You know, that generation was brought up by 16-year-old mothers.
Yeah.
Single family, so single parent homes, no father figures. And they have no morals, no values, except what they see on television. You know, they got Xbox kid games now. The main thing is bam, 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 blowing somebody else's head off. You know, how many people you can kill. You know, that sort of thing. This is in our infants, you know. So this is what they're coming, this is what they're playing. But what we have now, the prior generations behind us, which with us during our generation, and we were the ones who were around when they scattered drugs in every corner, okay? And a lot of us were able to pull through, but a lot of us weren't. And that's where these single parent mothers come in. So these next generation kids were raised by their 16-year-old moms who didn't know any values. You know, there was some housing projects, housing development. Somebody gets upset and say projects, but I heard in your conversation, young person saying, "Well, my mother lives here, my grandmother lives on this side, and my great grandmother over there and there." And I can't wait till I start getting my check and get my food. So, they got 4 and 5 generation families that hasn't gone any further than downtown Chicago when there's so much more world out here, but they don't desire, you have to want more.
And that's too, exposure, as you're talking about exposure, exposing beyond the community. Now, Reverend Barlow named several organizations he had. Laron Marks, you're with an organization. Rockland, you're with an organization. We have so many organizations out there that are doing good. And Reverend Barlow gave us testimony of people who've come through and done well, but he also gave us testimony that he's still burying a lot of young people in his role as pastor. So how do y'all feel we get them involved in the organizations? The organizations exist, it seems,
but they don't know that they exist. We've got the information out there, like the pastor mentioned. We got to come down to their level and speak their language in order for them to get the message. In order for them to desire something different, they have to realize there is another way. But listen to the senators who visit them. They're going to turn the other way.
Yeah, and see, the thing is too with that, it's like he said, okay, in terms of these politicians and whoever high hats coming in and having these talks with these young people, it's like you could tell them to put down these guns, but what are they going to pick up? That's the thing. So if you don't have nothing to give them or to put in their hands to be productive, then what? You see what I'm saying? So this is a monster that's been created over time. This ain't just happened overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, our city has been transformed from the time, like I said, when they tore down these projects and they just scattered people everywhere. And like I said, it wound up becoming where these younger guys, they thought this was the plan. They thought that when they locked up all of the big organizations and the top people in the organization, that it was going to scatter younger guys and they was just going to go away after seeing that these guys was getting all this time. But it didn't wind up that way. They wind up starting their own little things, and that's what spiraled into what it is now. That's why there's no rules and nothing. You know what I'm saying? We had rules in the streets. You didn't touch babies. You didn't touch old people. You didn't mess with, it was boundaries to everything. But now they don't care, and nobody is being accounted for.
Like the pastor mentioned on the topic of my brother's keeper. Once upon a time, a total stranger would see you out in the streets and with disrespect, and they'd ask you where you live.
Yeah,
like knock on your door. They were authorized to pop you upside the head or drag you back home. You get second set of discipline. Right now the cultural standards dictate that it's against the law if you don't spare the rod. You know, you whip your child, the child can call the police on you.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see another question coming in from Don. Can we have the question on the screen? He says, is spirituality a strong factor in helping our youth?
Spirituality is nucleus.
But you know what? That's been thrown out the window. Let me say this. These young people don't have the fear of God in them. You know, like we had growing up. We was in the streets, adolescent, crazy, doing whatever, but we had the fear of God. They don't believe in God.
We had that seed planted in us as children.
Yeah, we had that seed planted in us. But this generation, they embrace the devil, and that all come through music. That's what I know.
The music?
You got secret society groups, and the ones that, listen, I've been around these youngsters, and I done heard them talk. Look, man, you ain't got no, what they say, you ain't got no bodies up under your belt, meaning you ain't killed nobody. That's the cool thing to been done killed several people. And you got a lot of these young kids, 10, 11 years old. They killers now, 12 years old.
But they've been
killers.
They've been told that that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, that's the thing. The little girl.
Years. What you talking about? This wait 10 years of your life.
This little 29-year-old girl that just got killed a few days ago. Yeah. I know y'all heard about that. I heard the gunshots on Vincennes. Okay. And if you'd have heard the guns, that whatever they was using, you'd have thought we was somewhere in Beirut somewhere, man. Okay. I swear I said, man, I know that somebody dead behind that. And that was the girl, 29-year-old that was pregnant with a 3, 4, 5-month-old baby. Yeah. And I hear this all the time, you know, but like I said, it's gonna take communities to come together. Like I said, I was in a meeting probably almost a year ago. We trying to pull it back together again. It was all the top grassroots from the streets that came to this meeting. Yeah. And everybody was like, man, we disappointed how our neighborhoods are and this, that, and other. It should have never turned into this. So they was ready to start trying to make some things happen. But before the meeting was over, 2 old timers got into it about some old stuff, and they adjourned the meeting, and we never brought it back together. So I'm working on trying to pull this back together because this will make a difference. And see, we had a solution for these kids that's wilding out here, because there's 2 places you're gonna go. You're gonna either go to jail or you're gonna go to the cemetery. And with the things, see, this is the thing, they don't listen on the streets, right? But when they go to jail, they got to conform with the old ways.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So we had a man, I don't know what to call this. I try to get a patent on it, but a lot of politicians want to get their hands on it. You know, it started getting messy. And the thing about it was this. I'm like, if they go inside them institutions, you done killed the baby, don't nobody support you. See, this is the thing. When they get in them jails, they easily put on what they call count. And they get on count and they protect it. Man, you kill a little kid, a little baby, there ain't nobody gonna protect you. That'll send a different message out here. Because see, they don't want to listen to the people in the streets, but when they go to them jails, they got a list. They ain't got the guns.
Yes. The cultural standards in general. Like let's say on old what's the old gangster one? Like Scarface. You know what I mean? Orange, that movie made. You know, that how people that's considered great, and that movie winning Emmys and stuff like that. And what is it all about? It's all about drugs, killing, you know, that sort of thing is considered entertainment in the world today. Which what the young people saw. And hey, I'm gonna be like, I'm bad too, you know. And like the pastor, we need more, like you said, more spiritual values, but coming down to their level, we need something to offer, something to fill that void. If we want to pull gun stuff away. Here, give me that and take this. This is a time slot. You show up here every day, 5 days a week, and you get a pocket full of money at the end of the week or something like that. Give them something else, another direction.
These people need to be trained with livable wage jobs. And I know going to get some little McDonald's stuff just to pay a bus fare back and forth. They need to be able to take care of families. That's the real deal.
Okay. They need to learn trades. We got the trades for them. If you teach them trades, then
we're working on that right now.
That will help them out.
I mean,
Mr. Doty asked the question about spirituality. Here's the problem with that. Is that their parents are not spiritual.
Okay.
These young people that are out here now, they're doing the same thing. The parents are doing the same thing that the kids are doing.
Exactly.
And looking for the same thing.
But you know what?
And I'm going to say back again, it's a hard problem, and we have to get some people that know how to deal with the heart.
Okay.
There's 16 inches between the head and the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge is to get the head and the heart connected again, so that we will be able to deal with the person. Because right now you're not dealing with the person, you're dealing with the spirit in the person.
You know, with all things said, by the same token, now there's a bright side, because I can see the generation after these last two. Let's say our grandkids. We're inspiring. We're having a positive effect on them, and able to tell our great grandkids. We're able to tell our grandkids, no, let your child do that, because we know what direction that's going. It's a lot visible now to us who've been down that road, you know, who've lasted long enough, who were able to dodge a lot of the pitfalls out here in the streets, or who stepped in, were able to pull themselves back out, or through basic.
What's the ages of your grandkids? My oldest is 18. My youngest is 4.
13. My eldest grandchild is 13.
My oldest is 18, and my youngest is 4. And let me say this to you, as a man of the cloth, I don't trust neither one of them.
Okay.
I tell their parents to keep their foot on their neck.
Okay.
Because they can't blink an eye, because they're being influenced by everything that they look and see
around them.
The TV, the radio, their peers, everybody is influencing them to do the very things that used to be taught in the homes not to do. And this is what I'm saying. The parents now, the parents now are just as rotten as the kids are.
See, do we need to retrain the parents? Do we also need to have programs to retrain the parents? Because I've been listening to you all talk, and we've come up with the solutions we have so far is we need the trades and the programs. We definitely need spirituality, mentors that know how to deal with the heart and the mind, a whole person, and then grandparents and parents stepping up. That's what we've come up with so far. So do we need to retrain? Because I've got grandkids too. My oldest will be 9 in a couple of weeks, and the youngest is 5. And there's one in the middle that's 6. So what do we do with these grandparents and parents? Because you got grandparents now that are kind of wilded out. Yeah, exactly. And as you all have said, parents that are wilded out, you know, a lot of them are in drug use. The kids never got a home. You know, they never were able to be a child.
Okay.
Their childhood was stripped away.
Exactly.
And they saw things too early that they shouldn't see. How do we curb that? How do we retrain? Can we retrain? And how do we move forward now, making sure the next set of parents and grandparents are doing what they need to do, as well as the youth? What do we do with that?
Well, you're going to have to add a mental component to it, because is it Laron? I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah,
Laron. Laron mentioned something earlier about the chemicals that they're using in these drugs now, which is causing our people,
quote unquote, our people.
And I'm being passionate about that. Our people, more and more of them are being succumbed to this whole business about mental health. Back in the day, who did you know that was crazy, other than somebody that got hit in the head with a baseball bat? I mean, just about everybody that we're dealing with now, the kids and the parents, they're suffering. If it's not a spirit within them, it's the drugs that they're using that have altered their thinking capacity.
Exactly.
Their thinking capacity.
Let me say this. It's a in the industry, in the music industry, you have certain entertainers. I don't know if y'all ever heard of this guy Future. He been promoting all the pills that he don't even use drugs other than weed. But he been a big advocate. They get paid for this stuff, for promoting Percocets and all these other, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
and our radio stations, we should have a problem with it. We should be threatening them to boycott them behind this stuff. Because they don't do this in other ethnic groups other than ours. Yeah. I got tapes that show you where they say they will promote these companies and corporations will promote blacks killing each other blacks, but they won't promote whites killing other whites or no other groups. You understand what I'm saying? But we ain't outraged by this stuff. Our kids is being conditioned. Their minds are being conditioned daily with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nobody doing nothing about it. I know people.
Exactly. And like somebody, one of you guys mentioned, it's a community thing. We have to come together on this.
We definitely got to come together.
Like for one instance, it starts at home. Like what Pastor? It starts at home.
Yeah.
From home, it starts on the block.
Yeah.
You get a block of from the block. It starts. It spans on out to the neighborhood.
But everybody mind their business now.
Yeah, everybody turn the other way and that sort of thing. No, it's got to matter. It's got to matter to others. It's got life and love has to matter.
That's what I'm saying. We once looked out for each other. Now everybody mind their business. That's the thing. So that's what killed our community. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Not taking you see a young boy doing something wrong, you don't want to stop and say something to him because he might do something or stab you or shoot you, or his mama might come and curse you out versus how we grew up.
Sort of thing.
You know?
They don't realize.
A lot of them young brothers need hugs, man. They really do. They need some real love.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They need hugs. They need love.
Example of love.
They don't need people coming in the community talking down to them because they feel like you think you better than them, you know, due to their circumstance. They really need hugs, though. I done seen it.
You need to be with something to offer.
Here's an interesting point that you brought up. One of the things that I realized in the program that I ran, where it was attracted to more young men between the ages of 17 and 27. The thing that amazed me was not so much how they gravitated towards me, but what my son's friends would say whenever one of my son's friends would come to my home.
Mm-hmm.
And I would open the door. They would ask my son, "Who is that?" He's like, "That's my dad."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Your dad?
Yeah.
Your daddy lives with you?" And the majority of my son's friends lived in homes where there was no man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was a man, he was there getting his freak on with their mama, and he left.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as a father figure goes, but when I had all these young men over at Kennedy King College, their grandmothers would come up there. It hurt my heart.
Mm-hmm.
The grandmothers would come up there and say to me, "Reverend Barlow, I don't know what you're doing to my grandson, but please keep doing it."
But they can see
because all he talks about when he comes home is this Reverend Barlow, and I had to come up here to meet you for myself. They would tell me, you're making such an impact on him. I see something in him that I've never seen. You're right, Laron. They need more than hugs. They need to be shown genuine, pure love from another man, and not that funny love.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, they've been forced into being hard because that's the way. That's the thinking in the streets.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To be hard and to be heartless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they don't have a time for nobody to come, like you said, and show them real love. So at all times, it's the jungle out there. That's how they looking at it. It's kill or be killed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want to ask one question of you all, because we've been talking more, it's more a little male slanted, but you are now starting to see young girls in crimes. They're doing the smash and grabs.
Yeah.
They're carrying the guns. They're
of
picking up
course.
too.
We can talk about them too.
They setting the guys up to be killed, the young girl.
Yeah, but you know one thing? You know what they like to say, like you guys I think we're on the same track, on the same page here. We got on the right track. We said we got 50 brothers with the same frame of mind with you, Rev. We can take one brother apiece and take them on our wing and make a difference there. You know, with having that influence on their life was going to attract them to the specific woman who's going to be a part of their life.
Cheryl wanted to speak about female. Let me tell you something that happened to me just last week. I pulled up in a gas station. There was a young lady pulled in, She had her radio up real loud.
Okay.
And she had a girl sitting in the passenger seat next to her. She gets out. She's all hard. She got her hat turned on backwards. Her pants are hanging down off her behind. I'm looking at half of her behind.
All right.
While I'm pumping gas. My first mind said, mind your business, Reverend. That's what my first mind said.
Okay.
But my second mind said, no, give her the gospel truth.
Praise the Lord.
Now, regardless of what she felt she was, what I saw was a female with her pants half down.
Okay.
And where I come from, if you see a behind half naked and it's a female, that's fair game.
Fair game. Okay.
It's an invitation.
Well,
yeah. And I said to her, do you realize that you walking out here in the streets around folk and some of them ain't rap tight? I said, now, what I see is a half naked behind. You trying to play hard with this girl that's sitting up in the car with you.
Okay.
And if I was to just snap on you, there's not a so-and-so thing that neither one of you females can do with me.
Okay.
There's not nothing you can do with me.
You know one particular phrase that you just mentioned there was, they don't realize. And that's the big factor then. Like the other brother mentioned before with the mind conditioning, with the drugs and the stuff they spray on this stuff and that stuff, they don't realize.
But I needed to point it out to her.
Yeah, yes, and that's what they need.
Her life was in
you know what? It's a spiritual thing going on. That's what this is. People think they could be whatever they want to be. It's now you don't have to have a gender. Listen, I'm working with CPS right now. We doing construction on all these grammar schools throughout the city. And guess what they doing in these grammar schools? They building genderless bathrooms. People should be in outrage about this stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna have little
like
babies.
There's no rules. There's no rules.
No rules to nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. No morals. There's nothing.
That's the
And
devil. He going after the babies now. You know what I'm saying? Genderless bathroom. So you're gonna have second graders, a boy and a girl in the same bathroom. It's gonna cause some touching and looking and lawsuits.
Well, now if y'all want to tell the truth about it, now that's political too. And
I know
the person I'm taking it to the federal level. The person we have to blame for that is our dear brother Barack. He signed that bill.
Yeah.
He signed that bill, and that's what started that snowball effect.
Yeah, definitely.
And as a result of that, now we're dealing with the LGBTQ plus community.
Yes, and I may have been pushing that.
Yeah,
she's been shoving it down our throat.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's been shoving it down. Well, listen, I done been in all kind of meetings with them about help building up the west side and south side. Ain't none of it happened yet.
You know, I've mentioned that. One thing I've mentioned that to Brother Doty. We could take some of these abandoned properties, and instill some journeymen. That's what
we're doing now. I'm with a union that's ran by blacks. We aren't supposed to say this, but that's why we've been at the mayor and them about trying to get some of these properties and put some of these young men to work. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, and they're beneficial for them, beneficial for the city.
And some of these schools as well. Rahm Emanuel shut down over 100 schools. And it's a lot of schools that's just sitting. You know, I got a couple friends that purchased a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I want us to start kind of wrapping up because we're going to have to do another show on this. There's just too much juice. There's just too much juice. And each of you has something that you're bringing to the table. But how I want to wrap up is maybe if you could give us, because you guys have such rich background and rich ideas, give us maybe 2 minutes on what you're working on. And Mr. Jones, I want you to include the plumbers program about that as you talk. So let's kind of just go around and give us what your organizations are. Put it out there so how people can get in contact with you, how they can reach out, because there are a lot of people who have relatives and friends and people they know. They can leave signs places. They can, they can maybe give out an invitation to someone and even share this video tonight. So, Reverend Barlow, what are your programs? Where can people go? And we'll go to each one of you to give me 2 minutes on that. And then we're going to kind of wrap up. And I'm going to have to get you guys back for another show. This was great.
Well, let me just say this. Currently, I'm not running any programs. I'm not running any at all. I actually got out of it. I'm just currently now starting to get back into healthcare. I'm sitting on the board of what used to be Mercy Hospital, and now is Insight, Chicago. And I'm trying to help them to build their clientele back up and open up a few feeder sites for them. And I've been in talks with Don Doty about how to grow his organization and to do some things. So I'm just not really, they're trying to bring me out of retirement. They're trying to bring me out of retirement.
But we need that wisdom, man. We need that wisdom. And that game you got can help go a long way.
We're working on you very hard, Reverend Barlow.
I did just form within my. I passed a very old congregation. The church is 105 years old this year in July, and I just formed the CDC. One of my desires is to try to do something with the homelessness that's in this city. The seniors need more. They need more places to live, and certainly these homeless veterans need a place to live. We got tons of homeless veterans that live out here in the streets, and it's a doggone shame. The mayor's getting ready to put out a $1.9 billion in the city in various avenues, and homelessness is one of them. Mental health is another one. Violence prevention is another one. I do work with the Black Fire Brigade, where they're dealing with young people, teaching them to become first responders, firemen, police officers, and nurses, and paramedics, and EMTs rather. So those are my current things that I'm working with right now. But I don't have any programs to offer anybody. I am trying to get back into it. I have been talking with my partners here in the city, as well as the federal government, to try to get myself lined back up. And Don Doty. Don Doty has talked to me every day by one way or the other, email, text message, or phone call. So
he just sent a message for all of you to come get involved with Georgia Doty.
That's it right there in a nutshell. Okay, well, as far as my issue here is what I can bring to the table is my plumbing experience. Okay, I've got over 30 years of plumbing, and along with that, my testimony. I've been down there. I've been down that road. I was lost out there in that self-destructive lifestyle for over 25 years. And I'm coming from homelessness to home over property owner, business owner, entrepreneur type of things. And like these brothers, it can be done. But my issue is, like you said, with the trades, Pastor, is one of the quickest ways we can get the guys. Instead of not in the classroom, it's in the trades room out there in the field. These guys, they make good money. And that's something else for those guys to stand up for, that I'm making a living for myself.
Yeah.
Not I'm bad. Not, I've done this. I'm on my way. And these guys got to want something different in life, but you got to show them there's something else to want. They've got to realize that, hey, this is not so bad. And a lot of times, once you get some of these young brothers involved, they'll really get involved.
Oh yeah.
They may not be sick, but maybe deep on the inside, they're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
I feel like if we can get like as far as the trades are concerned, the plumbing is my specialty, and maybe 1 or 2 apprentices, something like that, or just young men that can work along with me and could expand from that to.
We could issue journeyman cards.
Okay, there you go.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of just certificates like they do when they play them games with the certificates. So we trying to cut through all that chase. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we got the city right now at the table. We're gonna see what they're gonna do. Is they're gonna use this as some political for re-election, or they're gonna get on top of this?
Well, a lot of times it's who you know.
Oh yeah, well we already talked with the mayor. We done sat with the lawyers, everybody. I was just in the meeting with them a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what would help. That would help. What helped me with the unions, because when I was doing the automotive stuff, I had to sit down with the unions because that's where the money was.
Yeah,
you have to create win-win situations.
Definitely.
Where everybody wins. If you show them how partnering with you and your organization is going to help them to win, then they will certainly open up their unions to people that you would bring to them.
But see, the thing about it is this: some of these bigger organizations, union-wise, they ain't trying to let nobody in.
No,
you know what I'm saying? And a lot of this stuff is deadlocked all the way around the board.
Yeah.
There's always another way, my brother.
Oh yeah. I'm not the only one in this. There's other people in it.
Yeah.
But
trust me when I tell you that.
They see black men that trying to come together, and they doing everything they can not to let it happen.
To prevent it. Amen.
You see what I'm saying? We fragmented anyway. You know what I'm saying? Listen, and this is a true story. Magic Johnson came here. He got a company called Sodexo Magic. They came here. This was a couple years ago, and my partner wound up getting a drop on the meeting. They didn't let a lot of blacks know about it.
Okay.
So Magic wound up asking. He was like, "Where are the black contractors?"
That's it.
It was full of all white contractors. They was like, "It really ain't that many here in Chicago." So my partner said, "Man, that's a lie." He talked to Magic. Magic gave him one of his people to get in contact with to set up stuff. But they still, one of the guys that was under Magic was sold by the Caucasians anyway.
Okay.
They had already cut some deals, you know. But this is the type of stuff that goes on daily. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, you guys you're developing plans, and we want you to do that because it seems like things are starting to formulate now.
They are.
And I want to recap on some things. We came up with trades and programs, spirituality, mentors that know how to really deal with the heart and soul of a person, grandparents and parents to step up. We need a mental component, and the base of it all, we need love. We need love to be demonstrated in the community. And so I want to thank you, Pastor Henry Barlow, Laron Marks, Rockland Jones, for joining us tonight. And for those of you who want more information about these gentlemen, I want you to please reach out to us at georgiadotyhealth.org. You can send a message to us through our website, and it's shown now on the screen. That's georgiadotyhealth.org. You can find out information about each of these gentlemen, the organizations that we mentioned tonight. You can also find out how to join us, our organization, volunteer, come on board, sponsor, get your companies to make donations and sponsorships so we can continue to have platforms such as this. And this is just one of the platforms of Georgia Doty. So we thank you for joining us tonight. And signing off, we want you to be safe. Have a good night, everyone.